Welcome back to the Citizen Kelly Show. My fellow citizens, I'm Citizen Kelly. Happy, thankful, full of love and enthusiasm, but never more so than today. G-Law, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
My attorney, G-Law. Don't ever do a radio show without your attorney. Don't go outside without an attorney. Do not go to a gin fest, JUNE-IPER Gin Expo, without your attorney. Okay? And I can tell you right now, we are going to be at a gin fest this Friday at Chief O'Neill's. Chief O'Neill's. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Matt, the chief bartender at Chief O'Neill's. Is that...
We like the term beverage director. I think
Beverage
that's
director.
It sounds classier.
I like that better.
Bar manager.
Bar manager.
It conjures up
Friend.
maybe some negative connotations at times.
Friend.
But beverage director sounds classy and like I know what I'm doing.
Beverage director, friend. Okay?
Best friend.
Because Chief O'Neill's is family. It really is. Siobhan and Brendan. I've known Siobhan and Brendan now for it seems like forever. Which, by the way, let me just say this. You want to hear the funny thing, G-Law? When you meet somebody for the first time, what you don't realize is that person one day may be an old friend. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember when Siobhan and Brendan came to the Ancient Order of Hibernians fundraiser for Natasha McShane at the Irish Heritage Center? And they were there. And they supported that event, and they donated to Natasha McShane. And as a result of that, Natasha McShane, who, I don't have to remind people in the Irish community or probably even in Chicago of the what happened to Natasha McShane, right? But as a result of Brendan and Siobhan, we were able to purchase a van for Natasha McShane to be able to get to and from her rehab. Am I right?
We did indeed.
We did indeed.
Yeah.
We did indeed. And you know what? I'm very, very proud and thankful to say that. And I'm very, very thankful to Siobhan and Brendan. That's why I love them. Okay? It's kind of funny because, we don't always say, what is really, really deep in our hearts and our souls. Okay? But I love Siobhan and Brendan. They are truly good people. I consider them to be family. I love them with all my heart. So I am more than proud to be able to say that we will be at Chief O'Neill's this Friday for a wonderful event. We were at their whiskey festival, and that was a wonderful event. Wasn't it wonderful?
It was extraordinary.
It was absolutely extraordinary. Chief O'Neill's is a place where you actually feel like you are somewhere. Do you know what I mean? When you're at Chief O'Neill's, you feel like you're somewhere special, and you are.
It's the pub you've been practicing for.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And I've been practicing since I was a teenager. You know what I mean? I've been practicing since I was a teenager because my dad had a refrigerator in the basement. That's where he kept his, that's where he kept his
stash.
beer.
It's a stash, yeah.
And what was he thinking? You know what I mean? So I've been practicing for Chief O'Neill's ever since I was an adolescent. You know what I mean? But now I can actually go to Chief O'Neill's this Friday and see Brendan and Siobhan be part of history, the first annual JUNE-IPER Gin Expo. Matt, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm ready. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I mean, the Whiskey Fest was amazing. Those were wonderful people. And we ran into an old friend, Cliff Carlson from the Irish American News. I mean, these are the best people in the city. These are the best people in the world as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Cliff is like an amazing guy. He looked great. And he surprised the heck out of me because he told me that he was recovering from a health episode. Okay, I don't know if the Citizen Kelly media empire is in any way has to abide by the HIPAA laws. Okay,
HIPAA compliance.
HIPAA compliance. Thank you, my attorney G-Law. but I think he had a heart episode, if I'm not mistaken. And sure enough, he had just recovered from a heart episode. And where was he? At the Chief O'Neill's Whiskey Fest.
Not a big deal.
That's my guy.
That's the way you recover.
That's
Get
my
right
guy.
back on the horse.
Yeah.
Cliff Carlson. I absolutely love Cliff. I'm just going to say it right now. In all honesty, I absolutely love Cliff. I love Siobhan. I love Brendan. I love Chief O'Neill's. That is family. Okay? And we have Matt, the beverage director of Chief O'Neill's, here with us today. And we have Karl from Skeptic Gin.
Yeah, the
right?
the gin master.
Gin director.
The gym director, the gym master.
Exactly right.
Gin
And-
master.
And by the way,
Gin
he's a
master.
local guy. He's a local. Carl is a local guy. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know that we're national, and I know that the affiliates around the country, they don't like it when I talk about Chicago, right, or Illinois, whatever, right? But you know what? It matters to me. It matters to me. Okay. So we have Karl from Skeptic Gin. Karl, tell us where did your inspiration come from? Why did you decide I want to make gin? I want to be a gin, a maker,
Gin master.
a gin master.
Well, I was originally a home brewer, so I was doing that for many years. I wanted to do a brewery. I thought I had a cool name for a brewery, Skeptic Brewing Company, with the question mark and everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know, felt like the market was getting pretty crowded. There's a brewery pretty much on every corner now.
That's a great point.
And I was like, and being in the chemical business, I got into vacuum distillation. So I thought maybe I could make some really cool whiskeys out of this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you also make whiskey?
I will be. Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
That was really the genesis of the whole thing. But basically taking whole beer recipes, running it through the cold distillation process so you can actually taste hops and things like that they don't usually put in whiskeys.
How long does it take to distill a batch of gin, like start to finish?
The
So it's
gin,
like drinkable and alcoholic.
well, I infuse it for about 5 days with the botanicals and fruits, and then I distill it. I can do it like in a day. I don't know. It depends how big the batch is, but
But
it actually doesn't
it's
take
alcohol to drink like right after that.
Yeah, then I'll proof it down. It's got to mix with water overnight, basically, and then I can bottle it
I love it.
right from there. Drink it right off the
Absolutely.
tap.
So Chief O'Neill's carries Skeptic, and you're going to be there. You personally
I'll be
will
there.
be there on Friday. And so in the garden of Chief O'Neill's, the center of the universe, as the Greeks,
As far as I'm concerned.
as far as I'm concerned, yeah, me too. The Greeks, the ancient Greeks, the Greeks of antiquity, they believed that Delos was the center of the universe. And I've been to Delos, by the way. And I have to say, I literally stood in the exact spot where Julius Caesar stood at the Oracle of Delos, the Oracle of Delphi, to be specific, okay? And you know why Julius Caesar stood in that spot? Because he wanted to stand in the exact spot that centuries earlier Alexander the Great stood in. Isn't that interesting, Gila?
It is indeed.
That here you had exactly right. How strange is that? That you had Alexander the Great, who, I mean, at the time, his attitude was, hey, whatever, I'm Alexander the Great. Do you know what I'm saying? And here I am, right? I'm here making Persia great again. Do you know what I'm saying? And then you had Julius Caesar. He shows up and he's like, are you kidding me? Julius Caesar, the man that we all look to and say, this is probably one of the top 3 or 4 greatest people that ever lived, right? And but he wanted to stand where Alexander the Great stood. At that time in his life, he probably didn't realize that Citizen Kelly would be talking about him all of these centuries later. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
But then Citizen Kelly stood in the very spot that Julius Caesar stood. So, how many centuries from now will somebody be standing where we are standing right now and saying, my God, we are standing in the exact spot where Citizen Kelly stood because of Julius Caesar, 3,000 years earlier, Alexander the Great, 2,000 years before that. Do you see what I'm saying? And
Is this something we can program into our Android bodies once we get them?
You better believe it. That's the whole point. That's the whole reason why we're doing this.
Or just drink Skeptic gin.
There you go. Why do you think we're doing this? So we will be right there in the garden of Chief O'Neill's. Do you call it a garden? What do you call it?
I like garden. I think garden's appropriate.
Yeah. So we will be right there
Calm term.
in the garden at Chief O'Neill's.
Like the Garden of Eden.
Exactly right. Drinking Skeptic
Interesting.
gin. And Sheila, I'm counting on you. It's up to you. Okay? When you ultimately write the story, the ballad of Citizen Kelly, there are only 3 things that I require, okay? Of everything else that has ever come before, okay? I mean, if you can work in Julius Caesar, that would be fine. That would be great. Okay, whatever. If you can work in Alexander the Great, that would be fine. That would be great. I only require this. When you are writing the epic tale of Citizen Kelly, to go with this haunting melody, I only ask that you include Chief O'Neill's this Friday, JUNE-IPER Gin Fest. Okay? If you can work in Matt's name, that would be great. Okay? Skeptic Gin. Skeptic Gin. Karl. Okay? I want Karl's name to go down through the centuries. Okay, G-Law? Are you hearing this?
I'm hearing it.
And the fact that we were there for the historic first annual JUNE-IPER Gin Fest this Friday night at Chief O'Neill's with Brendan and Siobhan. We're going to be there. Matt's going to be there. Karl from Skeptic Gin is going to be there. And
Can't
for
wait.
centuries.
High fives for everyone.
Centuries from now.
The legend writes itself.
People will be envious. But I don't want you to be envious. That's the point. That's the
feeling that
point.
energy?
Don't be envious. Embrace
It's
it.
electric in here.
Embrace it. And we'll be back with more Citizen Kelly tomorrow night.